Oh, in 1984. Oh, in 1984, I ran a fucking podcast. Oh, shit, in 1984, I was on the news channels. Oh, in 1984. Yeah, it's Bill O'Reilly.
It's a much more active podcast if I can stand up. I think it's a lot better if I can actually stand up and talk. I can kind of walk back and forth like this. And my little paint some little shit on the floor.
So yeah, what's going on, everybody? Hey, everybody. We have a big screen today. It's a big. I can stretch my arm. Ow, don't hit the fan.
Listen, I've been watching a lot of podcasts. They're a little bit different format recently. Less of the multi-person conversational flowing around political stuff and more of the interview focused, kind of the more traditional podcast, I think, like the Joe Rogan style. Chris Williamson, Stephen Bartlett, The Diary of a CEO, Modern Wisdom, Impact Theory, Tom Bilyeu, those type of podcasts. Sean Ryan has a couple of incredibly important episodes that everyone needs to watch, actually. Maybe I'll put those in the link whenever I do publish this. Thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for watching the show. Anybody who's watched it up to this point, this has been an experiment. It's been a learning curve. It's been a really interesting way to learn about a lot of different things about myself, about the way that I present myself, about the way that my mind works, about the way that podcasts work, how much work is behind the scenes and editing, how much you have to pay attention to, like, where you're sitting and what you're looking at and all these sort of things. So it's been a really cool experience so far. The format's probably going to change a little bit. I want to focus on the business, leadership, and health aspects. Those are the most important things in my life right now. So those are going to be, this podcast is going to be a reflection of my life. So that's going to be the most important focus for me at this time. I'm a restaurant guy who has been an entrepreneur and has moved from the chef artist world to the business world and sort of balance those two things, which is really a left brain and right brain activity that are kind of balanced off of each other, like two poles of a battery. They create energy between each other. So luckily I'm able to recognize that and be able to maneuver in that. And I want to be able to reach out to other artists and other business people and have conversations with them and have that be the focus of the podcast. But leadership and then health, I think, and health and fitness is actually a very important aspect of leadership that I never realized how important it was until now. I'm 47 years old and, even the Mona Lisa's falling apart. So, you know how that goes. Or maybe you don't. You will. So the show format's going to change a little bit. The focus is going to be on those things. We're going to start focusing on some guest interviews. We'll still do the probably weekly check-ins. Daily check-ins turned out to be just too much. The editing is way more than I thought it was going to be. It may have to do with the fact that I was an amateur speaker or pre-amateur. I mean, I completely fucked hard at speaking, and I didn't think so. But it's kind of like that guy who wants to open a restaurant and is like, oh, everybody tells me I can cook really well and I have my grandma's recipe and this and that. And then they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So I'm that guy when it comes to podcasting. I'm learning and I'm getting better. Every single one of these episodes is going to get better and better as we go along. So this is basically a wave point. So we're kind of at the top of a wave and we're going to go down to reset. We'll probably have a little bit of inconsistency in publication over the next couple of weeks as I'm just taking recordings and starting to put some stuff into the memory banks. And then I can go back and have some time to edit. And then I've had a couple of really good suggestions, one of which is to make sure that the podcast comes out on specific days at specific times. So we'll go ahead and schedule that. We'll pick some days and times, and yeah, we'll move forward from there. Accountability, focus, and ADHD. So the accountability chart I'm not really using right now, but I'm still doing really well, and I'm doing a lot of the things that are on the accountability chart. But it's kind of one of those things where sometimes you have to really be a stickler for the system to be able to implement the habit. And then once the habit's there and you have that, like, you miss it when you don't do it, then you can start to take it away. But you have to be careful also taking it away. So everything, there's a balance there. And so the accountability chart is probably not going to be a part of the podcast going forward. Although I'm still using some aspects of it. It's on a constant state of evolution, and I don't know, I'd rather not just spend time explaining all that stuff. Maybe later on down the line, I'll go back and do like a long-term picture of how things happened over a year and say, like, this is the accountability chart I used over a year, that kind of thing. Focus, ADHD. I don't even know why I wrote that down, because there's so many different things that I have going that I forget where I saw this, but if you put, I think it's probably Alex Hormozy, like if you put 40%, of effort into 10 different jars, then none of them are ever going to get full. They're all going to be at like 10% full. But if you put 100% of effort into one of those jars, then you'll have like 150% in that jar. And then once it's done, once that one is squared away, then you can go on to the next one. So it's something that my mind has a difficult time with, but I'm learning to do more, which is just focus on that one task, nail out that one task, and then get it off your ticket line, sell that ticket, and then go on to the next one, so to speak. So yeah, this is just going to be a real quick check-in to let everybody know kind of what's going on, and to let everybody know who is watching, who has been checking these out, that I do appreciate you guys sticking with it. This is going to be a really cool process, has been a real cool process. I'm really glad to be able to have the opportunity to share it, have great gratitude for God to put us in this time of technology that we can do this type of thing. And I just can't wait for, the future. There's a lot more coming down the pipe, and things are getting a little bit more organized as I go through and experiment and figure out what works and what doesn't. And you'll start to see a little bit of a different format coming through. If anybody is interested in doing an episode, we'll sit down. I'm getting some stuff about some questions. I'm going to start studying, interviewing tactics and that kind of stuff. And so I'm going to start writing out some questions and doing some practice at being a good interviewer, which actually ties into leadership as well and business. And so, if you guys want to be on the show, if you guys want to do an episode, reach out, let me know, put it in the comments. Or if you know somebody to get in touch with me, just go ahead and get in touch with me and we'll knock it out. Thanks again for everybody for watching. Don't hold your breath. See you soon.
I'm gonna get a standing desk. I gotta get the standing desk so I can stand up and do this like this. I can hit my head on the fan if I can hit it. Ah!